My next guest has been a longtime member of the U.S. Civil Rights Commission. Before that, he was a member of the National Labor Relations Board. He is a partner in the Labor Department with a major law firm in Cleveland. Please welcome back to the program, Mr. Peter Kirsanow. Peter, how are you?
Well, considering it's almost in the country where I'm doing fairly well, but I'm very concerned about the direction which we're going.
Peter, I'm pretty familiar with the legal community in Cleveland. As you know, I practice law there too. How are you treated? You're an out of the closet conservative, no holds barred. I'm serious. How are you treated?
Actually, really well. Thus far, I'm knocking on something. I hope it's wood. Thus far, I've not had the kind of experiences that many have. I know, Professor Jacobson of my alma mater at Cornell had a lot of problems, and there are a lot of people in law firms, major corporations, who, if they don't toe the prevailing line, they find themselves in a lot of trouble. A lot of people have been fired. I work for a great firm. So far, so good, and I don't see any problems on the horizon. It helps to speak accurately and the truth, and when you've got the facts on your side, statistics on your side, I'm sure that there's a lot of political pressure out there. There are a lot of people who don't like hearing the facts and the truth, as you know very well, more than just about anybody in the country, Larry. But so far, we're doing pretty well.
My guest is attorney Peter Kirsanow, longtime member of the U.S. Civil Rights Commission. You heard that caller before I put you on, Peter, who complained about illegal aliens taking jobs away from American workers. This is something you've talked about for a long time.
We've been on this for a while, and I thank you, Larry, for your leadership on this, too. This is something that, many people, Republicans and Democrats, just glance aside. They don't want to acknowledge the fact that the one cohort that is most horribly harmed, and it's quantifiable, by illegal immigration are black males. Blacks generally, but black males, because we compete in the same markets. That is, illegal aliens compete in the same markets that many black males compete in, and because of the various benefits that employers can receive by virtue of employing illegal aliens, sometimes they prefer to employ illegal aliens. They can, they know that illegal aliens aren't going to be running to EEOC or OSHA or some other places, the Wage and Hour Division of the Department of Labor. So they will work at substandard wages, substandard conditions that Americans won't work at, or you can't force them to work at without having the government come down on you. And millions of blacks have been displaced over the years. But if you take a look at all of the data, and there have been a number of studies on this, at any given snapshot in time, nearly 1 million blacks are displaced as the result of the influx of illegal aliens into the workforce.
I think also, Peter, didn't you say that they also lose something to the tune of almost $1,800 a year because of the downward pressure put on their wages by the competition of illegal aliens?
Yeah, that's a good memory. I didn't say that. I'm simply repeating what economists that have appeared before the Civil Rights Commission have told us pursuant to their studies. I've testified a number of times before Congress on this issue, and there's been some extraordinary people. George Borhaus of Harvard, Steve Camarata from the Center for Immigration Studies. They actually are the ones that tease out the data. They've spent a considerable amount of time on this. And I wish more politicians, both on the left and the right, but mainly on the left, because the left is out there saying that illegal aliens are great. They're doing it because of a political imperative to do so. Look, illegal aliens may be fine individuals, but let's face it, they're displacing Americans, not just black Americans, but a lot of Americans across the board. And it's not just at the lower income levels. We have individuals who are coming in who are displacing people at medium income levels also, but it does palpable harm to the black community.
My guest is Peter Kirsanow, longtime member of the U.S. Civil Rights Commission. Peter, I saw a poll in Rasmussen that put Donald Trump's approval rating among blacks at 40%. Do you trust that number?
I trust that number as far as it goes. It's been a consistent number with Rasmussen and other polls for about 9 months now, and I've been talking about this with you and others. I don't think Donald Trump has a remote chance of getting anything anywhere near that in November, but that's not the point. What he's polling at right now in terms of approval ratings translates into a prohibitive electoral percentage for Democrats. By that I mean prohibitive in terms of their being able to win. As you know, Larry, Democrats must get 92% of the black vote and a robust black turnout in order to have any chance of prevailing in a national election. If Donald Trump is polling anywhere near 40% in terms of approval, that likely translates to anywhere from 12 to 14% in terms of the vote. That means blowout territory in terms of the general election. Hillary Clinton got 92% of the black vote in 2016, which is comparable to what Barack Obama got. But you got 4 million fewer black votes because the turnout was lower. Now, if Donald Trump can replicate his 8%, he probably prevails among black voters. But there's a fair chance that he can increase that, and then despite everything we hear, all the prognostications, the current polls, which largely are, in terms of electoral polls, largely are meaningless. It's too close to call at this point. But once we get closer to November, if that 40% approval or anything even remotely near that pertains, then I think that Donald Trump is going to be in good shape for the general election.
My guest is Peter Kirsanow. Peter, we're going to take a break. When I come back, I want to ask you about the effort to repeal affirmative action, race-based preferences in California, and get your thoughts on the protests taking place in the streets. My guest is Peter Kirsanow, also author of Target Omega. He's also done a sequel to that novel. 888-971-SAGE. We're taking your calls. I'm Larry Elder, Peter Kirsanow.
Larry will be right back. Stay tuned.